veteran's voice, stories that deserve to be heard.
My name is Allie Braswell. I was a Staff Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, and this is my story. Well, the reason I joined the Marine Corps was because my family has a proud heritage dating back to the Korean conflict, where my uncle served as a Marine, to my brother that served in Vietnam, my uncles and brothers and cousins who served from the Vietnam era to when I came in through the Iraq War era. So it's been a family history. There are 10 total Marines that have served either by in-law or by actual member of family, and I was number 8 out of 10. My military experience has been the foundation of allowing me to be able to accomplish all that I've done. In the Marine Corps, when we came in, you kind of like the song by, that we all met on Paris Island in an asylum, Billy Joel, to going out and serving. We get to Paris Island as a unique individual, and then what they do in 13 weeks is instill a sense of pride, sense of purpose, a sense of being someone special, being a part of a whole. While you're assimilated into the culture of the Corps, you're also taught to be a leader, taught the ideals that will follow you the rest of your life. So I can remember being a young guy laying there in my rack in Paris Island, South Carolina, and reflecting one night, looking out a porthole or a window, as we called it, and looking through the trees, and that was my way of escaping the craziness, the yelling, the screaming, the rebuilding of Allie Braswell as a Marine. But I also remember reflecting that if all my brothers and uncles and cousins that did it, I could do it too. And that has been the hallmark of what I've been able to do out my military career or whether I was in civilian. So I served as a cryptologic technician, which was the first thing I learned how to do was copy Morse code. And in that was really interesting because I never knew that a dot and a dit would make a living for me, but it actually taught me a lot about concentrating, focusing, and being purposeful about the things that I wanted to do. I would serve in that role, and that would take me all the way from being a little kid born in Oviedo, Florida, to now living in Oahu in Hawaii. So one of the things that the military afforded me was the opportunity to travel. And one time I put up a map in my office and started putting pins in it, and my kids were like, "Dad, have you really been to all those places?" And I can say yes, and it was because of the Marine Corps. So serving in that role allowed me to do a lot, allowed me to travel the globe, allowed me to meet friends that I still have till this day. We have a reunion group that gets together some 30 some odd years later that just gets together and hangs out, and now while we're all looking at the gray hair or the lack of hair, or we're not so svelte and Marine Corps shape, some of us still look like the stud muffins that they raised the Marines to be, and then some of us look like me, where we're just happy to have had the title of Marine. It was the camaraderie. I think what we learned in A school was we learned to persevere through some tough times, learning in a very fast pace, and then being able to go and apply that in real world scenarios. My career took me to Hawaii. From Hawaii, I got to go to Japan. I got to tour over to Korea. I got to serve on active duty missions that, while classified, were important to protecting our nation. And I think the greatest thing about it is a lot of people said I am severely patriotic, and I would have to say, yes, when you think about the young men and women who sit on our front lines that provide the very freedom that we take sometimes for granted, I was proud to have been a member of an elite group called the Marine Corps to make a difference and to be able to serve and give back. So when you think about my military career, it was one, eye-opening. It was number two, it afforded me an opportunity to do things that may not have been open to a young African-American kid from Oviedo, to then going on and learning leadership tactics and roles that I would be able to use as we took troops into Operation Provide Comfort during the first Iraq War. And I think about those guys that we went over there, and every single one of us came back, and we came back as a band of brothers. You know, when we crossed the Atlantic, we were separate and apart in some ways, but once we boarded that ship and headed into harm's way, we were brothers, and we looked out for each other. And that sense of brotherhood is something that I cling to and look back on as a Marine and as a part of that entire part of my life. So the Marine Corps was really good for me. It helped a young kid who had lost both his parents at age 17 and 19 respectively take the morals, the values that they instilled in me as a kid, and be able to employ them and hone them into leadership traits and abilities. So when they say that, you know, the military can help make the man, I would have to say that's definitely been true in my case. While serving in the Corps, I had an opportunity to do a lot. So when it came time to get out, it was kind of a reluctant getting out, because what we had found out is I was up for the opportunity of being selected to become an officer, which was my dream, only to find out that my knees were gone, that I had degenerative joint disease. And after a couple surgeries, the Marine Corps decided that under the reduction in forces, I would be a candidate. So leaving the Corps was really tough, because these were my brothers. This is who I got up with every day, you know, and something as simple as now I got to choose a wardrobe to wear. It was real simple in the Corps. It was green. It was green with khaki. It was blue with the dress blues, and everything was laid out. So now I had to go out and figure out what I would do. But the Marine Corps had prepared me well, because I left and went into the world of life insurance sales and built my own agency. Again, it was that stick-to-itiveness. It was that ability to persevere through tough times. I often leveraged something we learned in the Corps, the 5-paragraph order, in order for me to be able to accomplish a lot that I've done throughout my civilian career. So transitioning was tough in that I was leaving something that I really loved. I was leaving behind brothers and friends that would continue to march on, and I felt a sense of loss. One of the other challenges was the civilian world wasn't ready to receive us back. When you get out, a lot of times they sent you to what we call now Career Source, but it was the unemployment office. And what they did was try to match you to skills based upon what you did in the military. That was really tough, because then it wasn't easy to match a signals intelligence analyst who spoke Indonesian to a job in Maryland. You know, I had the opportunity of returning to the agency that I worked for, but that really wasn't a fit. So it was really trying to navigate that, and I think where we can learn from my experiences, and I think that the military has, is we prepare a young person to come into the military, and we spend 13 weeks to get them ready. We then invest in their training. We make them experts. Well, I think, you know, and I know through my role now of serving with the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army's office, that they're doing a better job because they have a roadmap to help you leave. I think a lot of times that if we can assist in that transition, you've got great talent coming out of the military, like myself, and that all they need is a roadmap and a plan. And like the situation, mission, execution, administration, and logistics, and command and signal, that was ingrained in me at age 21. Now at 56, I can still look back on it. What is my situation? What is my mission? What am I trying to accomplish? How am I going to execute it? What do I need to get it done? And then how do I need to make sure and monitor it that it gets done and accomplish what I'm out here to do? Those kind of skills are inbred in every single military member, every Marine that leaves. And to be able to give them a roadmap to navigate back, I think, is one of the biggest challenges and one of our debts as Americans to every single one that serves in the military, whether you're Marine, soldier, sailor, or you're airman, Coast Guardsman. No matter where you serve, you walk away with certain skills that can be taken and be employable. So my transition coming out, while it was difficult, I had some great sponsors, some people who looked at me and said, you know, Allie, we're going to make a difference with you. We're going to help you. We're going to help you navigate this thing called transitioning. And I would really say those were the angels that were put in my way along the way that helped me to get to certain things, get to certain places in life, and to be successful. But again, as I stated earlier, the Marine Corps was a tremendous foundation in helping me build the skills, build that mental toughness to be able to go on and take on anything. Our military, they give a lot. You know, we continue to be a proud family that serves. My sons have both served or are serving. My son served in the Air Force, and he took what we call the easy way out, became a flyboy. He was an in-air refueler. He served 132 plus combat sorties and during the heart of things going on in Beirut, and flew in support of different missions around the globe. My youngest son is a UAV operator and is currently serving. You know, I used to mess with him about his Xbox and his video games, and he's really shown me that, yes, Dad, I can turn this into a viable skill. I just think that sense of service that we've had in our family, there are a lot of other guys out there, a lot of other women out there who still are doing the same thing, and we need to be proud of them. That's why I serve currently as the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. It's an appointment that I was appointed during the Obama administration, that I'll get an opportunity to serve and stand up for soldiers. And I will tell you, every morning I get up with a little bit of bipolar disorder. The Marine in me always wants to say, why are you putting on this Army pin or whatever? But what I've learned is that, you know, a young colonel told me, sir, we're one team, we're one fight. And I truly believe that, and I've seen the professionalism of the Army. I know the professionalism personally of the Marine Corps, and I feel that we must continue to support our troops because you end up producing somebody like me. I now own my own company. I write books. I do way too much. If you ask my wife, I probably am overcommitted, but I don't know any other way to do it than to give it my all. And I learned that in the military. And if you ever want to hear the rest of my story, it really is the military took me and molded me into somebody that I'm very proud to be, a United States Marine Corps veteran.